This is 20 nations where we had data on vegetable oil consumption going back at least 25 years because the incubation period of macrodegeneration is obviously at least 35 years. You don't see it in almost anybody under 35. And it's generally speaking more like 50 years or more. But anyway, so this is only the nations where we had 25 years of data or more on seed oil consumption or vegetable oil consumption versus the prevalence of macrodegeneration in that country. And so on the x-axis, the bottom, you can see the increasing vegetable oil going to the right, and then on the y-axis, the AMD prevalence as you go up. So increases as you go up, and you can see that there's a pretty tight correlation. In fact, for those statistically minded, the Pearson correlation coefficient, which is on this graph, is R 0.78. That is a very high correlation between vegetable oil consumption and AMD prevalence. So this is strongly supportive of the hypothesis. Virtually all of the chronic diseases like coronary heart disease, cancers, type 2 diabetes, metabolic syndrome, dementia, Alzheimer's, macular degeneration, all of them tend to track with this graph right here. And this is total vegetable oil consumption in the United States. And if you go back to 1865, in this graph, you can see that we had 0 vegetable oils. And so 100% of added fats in the diet came from animal fat. We just didn't have any vegetable oils. There was trivial amounts of olive oil. Almost nobody could get olive oil even at that point. And so cottonseed oil entered the food supply in 1866. And you can see that even in 1900, there was only about 1 to 2 grams of vegetable oil per person per day. So 99% of added fats came from animal fat. And then you just see that now we got all the other vegetable oils came into the food supply, and the consumption went from 0 in 1865 to 80 grams per person per day in 2010. 80 grams a day of vegetable oil is 720 calories. That's 32% of US caloric intake. So the vegetable oils almost completely supplanted and replaced animal fats. And with that, we became obese and sick. And we developed just a multitude of all of these chronic diseases. And so this graph shows the vegetable oils in the black curve versus the heart disease deaths in the red. See that heart disease deaths drop off more recently in treatment of heart disease, bypasses, maybe stents, but more than anything, probably it's a reduction of smoking.